Nigeria Decides live studio on independent television. Beautiful Thursday morning. Of course, a whole lot of conversations in the build up to the 2023 elections. What are your expectations? My expectations are high. My PVC is ready. In fact, I just went ahead to shine it very well and get it ready to use it on Saturday for the election to vote for the candidate of my choice. A whole lot to look forward to in Saturday's election. That's because we've got a whole lot of things to do to actually deal with all of these issues as it relates to governance impacting our country, Nigeria. Well, it's a watershed and a defining moment for this country. We have with us here in the studio the chairman and managing director of CityMark Investment Limited. Is also an astute politician, former member of the National Assembly, one-time chairman, the pioneer chairman of e-Parliament in the House of Representatives. I'm just wondering if that committee is still in existence in the National Assembly, particularly the House of Representatives. He's also the deputy director of the City Directorate South-South Presidential Campaign Council of the APC, and of course recently appointed into the board of the National Directorate of Employment. I'd like to thank very especially Razak Bello Osagi for joining us on Nigeria Decide. Many thanks for having you on the program.
Thank you very much, Sonny Duke Okoso, and good morning, viewers.
What are your expectations? Will mean that you're expecting very positive from this election, but some say that your party is on the is at a disadvantaged position going into this election based on the policies, politics, and what has happened in the last few years. You want to comment on that?
Well, let me thank you once more for inviting me. I think it is getting very interesting. I like to talk about issues. I've enjoyed the goodwill of the people. And that took me to National Assembly. So to that extent, I have sworn to protect the sanctity of those elements that are critical to our existential imperatives. I have sworn to remove those imaginary boundaries of partisanship, to build a coalition of change agents for the betterment of this country. What I want to see is the emergence of men and women that will change society for the benefit of humanity and to the glory of God. This is what I subscribe to. Talking about APC, the world all over have experienced a lot of challenges, particularly after the COVID-19. As we speak, some countries are still challenged. But the good news is that God, in His mercy, has favored us in this part of the world. We do not have crisis. Just a few days ago, we witnessed what happened in Syria and in Turkey, where I'm sure nearly 60,000 persons have disappeared. So, if you bring it down to Nigeria, we have our challenges. What we need to do is to identify men and women who are committed to that nationalistic fervor and patriotism to bring about the dividends of democracy so that Nigerians can enjoy what God has given to us. So much to talk about in terms of what God has created. It is to look for men and women with purpose, men and women with vision, men and women with capacity, competence, courage to make the right decisions for the benefits of us all. That is the challenge.
All right,
and that is what I subscribe to.
Talking about decision, your party, the APC, they have a share play in government. They've been in power now for about 8 years now, and they'll be leaving very soon. Your presidential candidate of the APC, part of his slogan is renewed hope. I don't know, what hope are we now renewing, considering the economy, considering the security, looking at our educational sector? And Bola Ahmed Siwaju is telling us he's going to have a renewed hope for Nigerians. How do we put that together?
Well, if we are talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, let me take a helicopter view of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. For what he has done, look at the trajectory of performance. What he has done in this country, particularly when he was governor of Lagos State. We saw the upward movement of the miserable 500 million transcending to over 5 million a month, over 5 billion a month. And because he is the architect of that developmental estate template that has now been the basis on which Lagos is where it is now, as the 5th largest economy in the continent, deserves some accolades. We're not talking about I will do. We're talking about a man that has very intimidating accomplishments as Lagos State Governor. You want to look at the pension scheme that is the fulcrum of what the federal government has adopted today. It's the brainchild, or it's the project of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You want to look at some of the things he did when he came in. Mind you, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in the trenches during the Nadeco days to support what we are all enjoying as democracy today. He was in the forefront of Nadeco. He was on exile along with quite a few others. Pa Nauro, Chief John Eyegu, and others. And they committed to ensuring that this democracy that we are enjoying today actually comes to fruition. And that is where we are. So why would you not give such a man, such a patriot, why would you not give him an opportunity to serve? We must bifurcate between, yes, he's a member of APC, we're all members of APC. The president is a member of APC. But you have to understand that when you're on the driver's seat, when you have capacity to make the decision, it is different.
People are saying that the Nigeria of 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago, when he held sway as governor of Lagos State and was very vibrant, is different from the Nigerian of today, by virtue of the fact that Nigeria is more polarized today compared to what it used to be in the past. Today's Nigeria is bogged down by economic challenges and what have you. And recently we just saw the president approving the implementation of the Naira swap policy, the Naira redesign policy, which has metamorphosed into the new Naira notes, which is continuing to bite harder on the lower rung of the society. And so looking at these challenges, particularly with the fact that Nigeria of yesterday is not the same today, what do you make of that as a challenge to him leading this country with all the realities or challenges that we have facing us?
Thank God, like you know, Asiwaju does not, doesn't have anything against the Naira swap policy.
But he has complained bitterly about it.
What has happened is, what everybody is quarreling about is the implementation. A man cannot operate outside the limitations of his ability. What you don't have, you can't give.
Absolutely.
I have a problem with the implementation. I am an accountant, I'm a banker. There's no, countries have transited from one particular currency design or swap to another worldwide. Some did in a few hours, some did in a few days. I suspect this process.
Why do you suspect this process?
Because the timing, and again, whatever we do must be people-centered. It is clear to everybody, even to the blind man, that we are all suffering, including me. Why would I support a process that would not allow me to take my money that I've deposited in the bank?
Is this not reflective of the fact that there's a division in the party?
No, it's not about, it's about, you see, you have to try and understand, it's not a division. It is not, Asiwaju is not Buhari. We are members of the same party, quite all right. If he subscribes to it, he probably would not have gone, to court. He supported the court process to say, let us subject it to court process.
Who, Buhari or
I'm talking about Asiwaju.
Okay, he supported the court process against his government, against the president.
No. You see, you have to understand that President Buhari has a responsibility out of conviction that this is what I want to do in the best interest. As to whether we did it, taking into consideration how people will react to it, is a different matter. As we speak now, we have all removed imaginary boundaries to say that this policy, there's nothing wrong with it. The cashless policy, there's nothing wrong with it. I think the implementation, I see a problem, and that is why this is happening. The template for execution has a problem, in my view, and that needs to be addressed.
Do you see this undermining the electoral process against your party?
You see, the fact that Asiwaju is a presidential candidate of the party, and there is no evidence to show that he's not in sympathy with the people, you should give it to him. That is part of the courage that we are talking about, a man. So what that also means is that if he gets there, he will take decisions, because if you can challenge the system as presently constituted, what it means is that you have really not agreed with, Asiwaju is not against the policy swap. It's not. What he's saying is that the execution of this process needs to be addressed. And in any case, the Supreme Court, that is the final arbiter, has made a pronouncement. I expected that every other person, no matter what the president is saying, the president cannot, his authority cannot be more than what the Supreme Court is saying. That is the final. Anything the Supreme Court says, the next place you can go to for complaint is to go to God.
Your presidential candidate helped the current president to come into power. Why should Nigerians trust Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu?
Yeah, because of his trajectory of accomplishments. Whether you like it or not, without any modicum or molecule of doubt, Asiwaju, for over 20 years now, the people of Lagos have they've trusted him as a performer, as somebody that has capacity to...
That's Lagos. We're talking about Nigeria.
It is about what have you done? What have you done? Take Razak Bello Sagi, for instance. I was in the banking industry for 24 years. I worked within the rules of engagement and delivered on my promises at work. And when I left, I subjected myself to public opinion to say, look, I am contesting an election as an intervention to ensure that we uplift the quality of lives of our people and develop on our environment. and the people gave me mandate based on what they know. Honorable Razak Bello Sagi, we know you, your track record as a banker. Yes, from a family that is fairly known around. And I have also micromanaged who I am as a person to ensure that the people trust you. So what Bola Tinubu is doing is a bouquet. It's a bouquet of goodwill. Okay. That's what he's leveraging on. Okay. And that is what he's enjoying.
Okay, let's quickly conclude with this. We've seen a level of consciousness in the build-up to this election never before seen in our political history. What are your expectations against that background? I mean, we saw people with so much fervency coming out to register, those who were really not interested in the election before showing interest in the election, particularly the youths. And we have seen the youths aligning with certain level of leadership in this election. How do you rate all of these, and how do you think it can work in favor of your party in the election?
Well, firstly, it is to avoid the temptation of classification and awarding marks. I don't like to talk about individuals. I would rather talk about my party and talk about my candidate. You will not see me criticize anybody. My arguments are usually powered by very superior position that I take on any matter. If the radar is going to pick my principal, I believe that it has more than enough evidence to enjoy the people's mandate. And what you see, I am even amazed, because I think the popularity has crossed the threshold, what I expected. Okay. So what it means is that the people want to give back to a man who has done so much. And mind you, what you need is vision. The biggest problem that we have in this country today is revenue. You know, I was on the appropriations committee of this country. I was chairman in parliament committee. I was chairman appropriations subcommittee in charge of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, Defense, and national security budget of this country. I was in charge. So I know that from what we see now, the biggest challenge is revenue. Yeah. So you need a president that will be thinking outside the box. What do you intend to do? I was very delighted when he was rolling out some of the things he wants to do. That look, we can give Russia a run for their money.
In terms of what?
You can open that space, the gas space. Okay. All you just need is what in that balance, in that energy balance, what you call assurances and guarantees. The MOUs, or whatever agreements you reach, you cannot vitiate from it. Once you don't do that, those institutions will put money into it. Those institutions will put money into it and build this infrastructure, mega infrastructure, that will power our gas through Morocco to European countries. And so Nigeria now becomes a market. So you will not be talking less about oil.
Okay. So you're saying Asiwaju is the man to beat in this election?
Without any modicum of doubt.
All right. Razak Bello Sagi, I would have loved to continue with you, but we are pressed for time. But I want to thank you for the views and thoughts that you brought to bear on this show. Thank you so much.
But let me make one final appeal. Yeah. That Nigerians must understand that we have only one country. We all have a duty to subscribe to moving this country forward.
Absolutely.
This is what I subscribe to. Politics is you know, human beings will always play politics. I am happy to see the trajectory of events in terms of the consciousness of the people to come out. So that at the end of the day, whoever will give our mandate to will know that it was not easy. That the people gave you this mandate in spite of all the ancillary challenges, they still gave it to you.
So it's based on trust.
So once you get there, you will have no choice than to perform.
Thank you very much. It's still Nigeria Decides on independent television. Razak Bello Sagi has been our guest, sharing his thoughts. Dr. Tom Pedro Baski will be joining us in a moment. Don't go away.